Well, hey guys, I'm Miss Alicia, this is Jesse, and we are so excited because we have a game that we are going to play with you guys, a super fun game.
Yes, and it has everything to do with this month's big idea of responsibility. You know,
Right.
our theme this month in 2v245 has been rules for life.
Yes.
Because our big idea is responsibility. Do
That's
you want to go
right.
over the definition, or would you like me to be responsible for it?
Well, I mean, since you're trying to be responsible,
okay.
not trying.
Sure. How about we both do
Let's
it?
both
We'll
do
both
it.
be
That's a good idea.
responsible.
We'll both be
okay,
responsible.
repeat this
Okay.
after me with Alicia. Showing you can be trusted
Showing you can be trusted
with what is expected of you.
with what is expected of you.
So that's the big idea for this month. And
Exactly.
because we have a fun game theme, you might have played Hungry Hungry Hippos at home. We have a fun game that's almost exactly like that, but completely different.
Completely different.
And it's called...
It's Hungry Huge Pie Hippo.
Yes, that's exactly
Yes.
right. So here's how the game is going to work, okay? You need someone to play with. Okay, first of all, just
Right.
2 teams. And what you'll do is you'll each take a silent bid. So you need something to write with.
Little
What
paper or
we're
something.
going to have happen is one of our staff, possibly even one of us, will have to participate in the
Yes.
game Pie Face. Your job is to bid on how many clicks you think we'll be able to do before the pie flings to the face. Does that
Yes,
make sense?
it does
So,
make sense.
If Alicia and I were playing, I could say 3, I would write it
Yeah.
down, and she
Yeah.
would say a number, and she would write it down.
I'll write it
Now,
down.
the thing about it is you want to be the highest number because the highest number wins. So they want to try to be the highest number, but if they go too high,
They lose.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
If you guess a number, and let's say you guessed 5,
Okay.
and it actually takes only 4 clicks before the pie flinger flings the pie,
Right.
then you're out.
I'd
You're
be out.
eliminated, okay? So you want to go high, but you don't want to go for too much, which
That's
actually
right.
has everything to do with our story for today. So
Yes.
let's get to the game with
Let's
our
do
first
it.
contestant. How about we do another round of that?
I think one more round.
Let's
Let's
do
do
another
it.
round. Okay, you know what? That was so much fun.
That was so much fun.
I think we need to get in line, okay? So,
Both of us?
rock, paper, scissors.
Oh,
Whoever
no.
loses
Oh,
has
no.
to do it. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Okay, yeah, ready.
Rock, paper,
scissors,
scissors.
shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes!
Oh no!
Let's see it! Hey, that was a lot of fun. Hopefully
awesome,
you
guys.
had fun playing at home.
Yes, we really hope so. And hey, so all month long we are doing the responsibility race. So if you go to newspring.org/responsibility race, you'll see that and you'll get points. You'll get points for your team.
Yes.
So make sure you log in on that. And
That's right. Not only are we doing midweek content, but if you just participate in the games that we're playing online
Yeah.
for the weekend, you can go to newspring.org/responsibility race for your parents. Let
Right.
us know that you completed the Hippo Challenge, and you'll earn points for your grade, first,
Very
second,
exciting.
third. The
Yes.
exciting thing is we're going to have a prize on the last weekend when all this wraps up. So it's actually the first week of February, but
Yeah.
also if you have competed online with us, even if maybe you can't make it to New Spring at all, you can compete online and you can win some prizes.
you still can
In
win a
fact,
prize.
we're going to give the winning team online, we're going to give them a movie night, and the box is going to be tons of fun,
So much
really
fun.
cool. They can have a movie night with their family, and so they want to compete, and they want to make sure they let us know they competed.
Yes, let us know.
Because all the third graders, second graders, or first graders, whatever the winning team is going to get a great prize, okay?
Yeah.
So what's
Sounds
that address
awesome.
one more time for them?
It is newspring.org/responsibility race.
Let us know you
Yes.
had fun with us, and we'll make sure you get the points.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story.
Hey everybody, I am really excited to be able to get to tell you our story for today in 252 Theater. My name is Mr. Jesse, and I'm so glad that you could join us online. Today our story comes from the book of Luke, and it's actually a parable that Jesus told to illustrate a point. And it's great because it's going to illustrate how we can practice the big idea of responsibility. Responsibility is showing others that you can be trusted with what's expected of you. And the great thing about this parable is Jesus makes it pretty clear what is expected of us if we're following Jesus and living the way He wants us to. Now, before I get into what's underneath this table, I wanted to take you to where this story picks up in the book of Luke, chapter 12. Someone in the crowd spoke to Jesus. Now, in the middle of this Jesus teaching, He's been teaching, and you can read the whole chapter 12. It's really, really interesting. He's talking about trusting in God and what it's like to follow Him and what the kingdom of heaven is like. And then someone speaks up and actually interrupts Jesus' teaching. The thing you really got to understand is Jesus spoke and taught like no one had ever spoken taught before. And all of a sudden, this guy speaks up and stops the whole thing, and he says this. Listen, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family property with me." Isn't this interesting? There's all this huge crowd here, and this guy stops everything, and he wants Jesus to kind of play referee between him and his brother. Listen to Jesus' response. He says, "Friend, who made me a judge or an umpire between you?" And then he said to them, "Watch out, be on your guard against wanting to have more and more things. Life is not made up of how much a person has." Now, that's pretty interesting, but Jesus goes on to illustrate the point through a parable. Now, a parable is just a story that Jesus would tell about things that were familiar with people so that they could understand a concept that might not be as familiar. So listen to how the story starts. He tells them a story about a very rich man. He says the man's land produced a very large crop. He thought to himself, "What should I do? I don't have any place to store my crops." And then he said, "This is what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones." Now, we're going to pick this story up in a second. But, like I said, a parable was a story that Jesus would tell about things that were really familiar to someone so that they could understand a concept. Remember, Jesus said life is not about getting more and more things. So how can we understand that, and how can we be responsible with that truth? Well, I'm going to bring up some help for me, and I've got some help underneath this table as well. Hey, Alicia, would you mind coming up here? It's my good friend Alicia. She ran the game for you guys earlier, and she did a great job. But Alicia, I know something about you that we actually have in common. And that is that you and I both have a favorite, and that is Skittles. Now, I legitimately do love Skittles. I don't know if they're my favorite. Okay, they're my favorite.
They're your favorite. Okay.
It used to be Reese's. This is a random fact. But now it's fruit stuff. I don't know why, but as I've gotten older, I love fruit. Flavored deliciousness.
I love both.
And this is the whole rainbow.
This is a whole rainbow.
So
it's so tasty.
Here's the thing. These are my Skittles.
Okay.
I got these Skittles.
Right.
They're mine.
Oh,
now, I know that Alicia here loves Skittles. But here's the deal.
Skittles.
The thing about Skittles, and the thing about these Skittles specifically, is I could share them with you, but then they wouldn't be mine. You would eat them. That's the thing about Skittles. I mean, like, for instance, if you wanted to borrow my Bible to read it, you could read it and then give it back. Or if you wanted to borrow, like, my favorite thing that I play with at home, or toy, or game, or something, like, of course you could, because when you're done with it, I could get it back. But the Skittles, the thing about Skittles is when you eat them, they're gone.
It's true.
So I'm not going to share these Skittles. And that's a little bit like the farmer in our story today. But let's keep going, because, okay, let's say that my birthday is coming up, big 3-0, and of course, what do I ask for my birthday? Skittles. I mean, come on, they're my favorite thing ever. And so I get a few more. Skittles.
Ooh.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
a lot of Skittles.
Yeah, it is. This is a lot of Skittles. Now, when you look at this, and maybe you're thinking this at home, maybe you're looking at all these Skittles and say, Jesse, clearly you don't need more Skittles. Okay, yes. But the thing about Skittles is they last a really long time.
Yeah.
You can save them, okay? You can put lids on these, and these Skittles will keep for a long time, right? I mean, they're
You
good.
know, they're so good. They're
Even
so good.
sometimes past what the thing says. Okay, I haven't done that. But the point is,
Are you
the
sure?
point is, they would still last. The only way they wouldn't last is if I let you have
Right,
some.
if I had some.
Right, and then I wouldn't have them to have. That's the hard thing with sharing this. But here's the thing. It's not that I'm being selfish. Okay, I'm really not trying to be selfish.
Okay.
I'm just saying that if I were to give you these, recently we've had like outages of important things. Okay, you guys remember last March I couldn't find toilet paper anywhere?
Yeah, could
right?
not
And that
find
taught me
it
a valuable
anywhere.
lesson. That taught me a lesson that I should keep things in store 4 times when things get hard. And one of the things that I know is that Skittles sometimes are in high demand in the springtime, right? Just around the corner.
Just around the corner.
I go to
Yeah.
buy more Skittles in the springtime, and I don't have any. I can't find them anywhere. The shelves are empty, and I'm thinking, wish I would have saved some. So because of that, I'm not going to give you any of these Skittles either.
You're not gonna let me have any of those.
Well, I mean, don't
Skittles?
you think it's fair? I mean, don't you think it's fair that I do my Skittles and I should save them?
I think it's a little unfair.
Well,
Because you're not sharing.
but if I share them, I don't have them anymore, and these are mine. And also specifically, like, it's not that I want to eat all these right now. That would be ridiculous. I'm with you on that. I should not eat all these right now.
Right. I would
That's
not eat all
unhealthy.
of those. I would not eat all those right now.
The point is, I want to save them for later. That's wise. So there you go. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You might be watching, you might be saying, okay, that really is ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
that's a lot of Skittles.
what if I told you you're not thinking of something like, let's say, for instance, my grandma, she's a very generous lady,
Yeah.
and she wanted to get me something to celebrate New Year. She missed me
Right,
for Christmas,
right.
my birthday, and so she decides to give me Skittles. And I love my grandma forever because she knows what I love, and she gives me all these Skittles. Now, here's the thing. Alicia, I would love for you to grab 1 or 2. In fact, I'm totally for it. Go ahead. But wait!
Oh,
You know what I just thought of? It's probably not the
So
most
I was so close.
sanitary thing. I mean, if you touch
Right.
one of the Skittles, I'd be happy to give you 1, but then, sanitary things,
Right,
being really
right.
cautious about that, you'd probably
Right.
have to take all of it.
All of
and
it.
that doesn't, those are my Skittles. That's way more than I had. That doesn't seem exactly fair, right?
I mean,
Okay, Alicia's exactly right.
it's a little.
Listen, this is our story for today. Can we pick up our story where we were?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that.
So in the book of Luke, chapter 12, this is what Jesus says. He says that the man decides to get bigger barns. Now remember, he said he had a big crop.
Right.
Okay, he didn't have Skittles. He had like food, like
Yeah.
corn or wheat or something that he could use to make food. And a lot of people would say it probably is wise to save some. I mean, that's wise, right? And
Yeah.
it's probably wise to keep some for your family to provide. That's good. But then listen to what the man says. He says, I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain stored away for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and have a good time. Now, listen to what he says right before this. In the book of Luke, chapter 12, the rich man actually says in Jesus' story that he's telling,
Right.
he says, I'll tear down my barns. He takes these that he has to store, and he says, I'm not only just going to save it, I'm going to go to the work and expense of tearing down all those barns, and I'm going to use all the effort that I used to tear that down.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend even more effort on building bigger
Yeah.
and
Whoa.
bigger barns. Because if I do that, then I can keep all of these Skittles forever. I'm not ever going to have to work again.
No.
I can relax and take it easy. Now, that sounds like a pretty good plan for the
Yeah.
rich guy. But listen to this. The book of Luke, chapter 12. And I love how Jesus, remember, this is a story that Jesus made up to
Right.
illustrate a point.
Right.
Jesus turns the story. And all of a sudden he says this, but God said to him, "You foolish man, tonight I will take your life away from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?" Ultimately, the rich man tried to save all this for himself, and instead, he got none of it. That's the story Jesus told.
Wow.
Thank you, Alicia.
That
Good
was
job.
a good story.
Yeah.
So I don't get.
Oh,
get
yes,
Skittles?
absolutely. Help yourself to the
Okay,
Skittles. Yes,
okay.
I'm so sorry. Yes,
It's okay.
of course you can have some Skittles. Take as many as you want. All right, so what does this story have to do with you? I mean, you don't have crops like a farmer, and you might not have Skittles either, but there are things that you have. And here is where Jesus ends his story of the parable of the wise man. That is how it will be for whoever stores things away for themselves, but is not rich in the sight of God. Now, here's what's interesting. Is at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad thing for the farmer to store some things away. Remember what Jesus says. That's how it'll be for everyone who stores things away for themselves, but is not rich in God's sight. What does it take to be rich in God's sight? Well, at the end of the day, what was interesting about the farmer is God came along and said, hey, your life's not going to last forever. And everything he had would end up going back to God. God owned it all in the first place. So what does it mean to be rich in God's eyes? Well, what it means to be rich in God's eyes is what you have, and you share with others. In fact, that's our bottom line for today. Share what you have. Now, maybe you have Skittles, and maybe in the middle of all the COVID craziness, if you share one, that means you have to give up all of them. I don't know, maybe that's true. But what if you did that? What if you shared even sacrificially? I mean, think about the rich man. He had so much he could have given some away. Or think about the brother that started the whole story. Remember how the brother spoke up and said, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the family property with me." Isn't it interesting that the brother was willing to sacrifice his relationship with his brother over stuff? And if we're honest, sometimes we do the same thing. And I think Jesus' story was trying to let us know and remind us that people are always more important than things, which is why it's always worth it to stop, recognize what we have, and realize that the most important thing we have sometimes is our relationships with others, and we can help, remember, practice the greatest commandment we talked about last week by sharing what we have. Let me pray for you. God, we pray for these kids that are watching. We know that each and every one of them has something that you have given them. And some of them have things that you have given them extra of. You didn't give that to them just for them to hoard for themselves. You blessed them so they could bless others. Lord, help us to see the people that you put in our lives that you want us to share with, to bless them as you've blessed us. And we love you so much, and we'll do this because you told us to, and we'll do it in your name. Amen.
Hey guys, that was a great story about responsibility and how we should share what we have, which is actually our bottom line in 252. Share what you have. If you participated in our game earlier today, make sure to go to newspring.org/responsibility race so you can get your points for your team. We'll see you next week.